Hey everybody, it's me Edward Jones back with a new video. And this video is entitled For Some Slavery. Now, this is a topic that I have been thinking about for well over 2 or 3 years maybe. Just something I've thought about, just observing people and, my social life and things I've seen, at the various places I've worked, some of the things I read in the news, things from history. And it's funny. It's funny I'm making a video at a time. At this time, because actually, at the time when I actually thought about, when I was actually thinking about this, and I started asking friends about this, at work, talking about it. The comments of Cliven Bundy came about his observations on the Negro, and I'd say I'll hold off on because I could have made videos. I could have recorded a video. But I couldn't upload anything. But I decided I'm going to wait until I get a new computer before I make new videos. I also wanted to see if I can get as much information as I can about the things that were going on in Nevada between the Bureau of Land Management and Cliven Bundy and the people who supported him. And then this article came out about these things, about the things he said about whether the Negro would have been better, or would they be better off as they were when they were once slaves than they are now living having a subsidized lifestyle. And that got me thinking. I said it was funny, because I was thinking about the exact same thing. And this is not exactly directed towards the issue of race. I don't really like to talk about that on my channel, simply because it's an over. Everyone talks about it. It's talked about too much, too often, for things that it shouldn't apply to. So, but I may make a video about it and make another video about it sometime, but not necessarily in this video. But there was a thought I had a while back where I said, would some people be better off if they were just slaves? And again, I may get some some people looking sideways like, what is he talking about? I'd say, but please, just bear with me. I remember a video that the Prepared Mind made dealing with indentured servitude, and it was talking about how he found out his ancestors came, I believe it was from Scandinavia or from Sweden, to the U.S. and signed a contract with William Penn that they be an indentured servant, that he and his family, the clan. It was a man, I forgot his name, but him and his family, they would be, they'll live on William Penn's land. I think they contracted for 7 years, and after that, he would give them land of their own, and also I think it was some money or some tools, things needed to get the land, get themselves established on their own land. But the thing is, they have to stay on his property and follow his rules, live under his roof, follow his schedule. And through doing so, they were able to. They gained trust. They gained credit with the people around them. They became known for their hard work, and they were able to take care of themselves. Now that's the thing. They were able to take care of themselves because they had the drive to do so. And so much that they actually put themselves through through those 7 years of living under someone else's roof. And then that got me thinking, and it was a good video, and it got me thinking. I'm not sure if I could personally do that with someone else. If it was an SACF situation, they came to me for help. I'm not sure if I would do. I'm not sure if I could do it. I probably could. I may have the potential to do so, but I'm not sure if I would do it. But then I made the observation with some people that I talked to about prepping or just basically taking care of yourself, and they don't take care of themselves. They don't. There are people. Let's be real about this. There are people who live in our society, and this has always been the case, that they don't want to take care of themselves. If push came to shove, I think you have three options. You can work hard, you can die, or someone else takes care of you. Now, in the manner that someone else takes care of you, it can vary from different ways. Whether you're an indentured servant or you receive tax subsidies. or you're just straight up, or you're just flat out enslaved, or you're someone's, you have someone who's a benevolent caretaker. But either way, efforts being used to keep a person alive, whether it be on their own or someone else's effort. And this has got me thinking, about those people who don't want to do anything, who don't want to take care of themselves, who don't want to raise their children the way they ought to raise them, with love and sincerity. And I guess maybe the parent part is a topic for another video. But as far as taking care of yourself as an individual, there are people out there who just don't want to do it. And it's not even that they don't know how to do it. They don't want to do it. They don't have the drive or the desire to push themselves to go forward, to want to take care of themselves, to want to be self-sufficient, even in the smallest sense of just feeding themselves. Some people can't feed themselves. Some people don't want to feed themselves. They want someone else to feed them. Some people don't want to house themselves. They want someone else to house them. Some people don't want to. They don't want to improve themselves. They want someone else to do all the heavy lifting for them, and they just coast on. They ride on someone else's efforts. Think about it like this. Let's say there is a situation where the fecal matter collides with the oscillating impeller, and box fell. And you have people who either they survive. They survive by. I guess you just have survivors, and you have people. There would be people who died, but then you also have survivors. Now you have some people who survived by taking care of themselves. You have people who survive by teaming up with other people. Mutual agreement. You have some people who may be captured, which I'm against that. I'm against capturing people and enslaving them. And then you have some people who they became indentured servants. And I think that's actually, I believe those are some of the many outcomes those are some of the possibilities or probabilities that will occur should something happen. Or think of it this way: what if there were no more social programs? What would happen to all the people who take advantage of those programs? Whether it be WIC or subsidized housing or things, things like that. What would they do? How do they support themselves? How do they receive support? How do they receive help? How do they stay alive? And it got me to thinking that, it's either you work, you die, or someone else has to take care of you. And how that person takes care of you is up to the person who's worked and saved up the resources that can be used to support another person or two or four or how many. And what happens to those people who, and I understand that not everyone who takes these who's receiving assistance is a lazy bum. I won't ever say that. But what about for those who are? What about for those who are the lazy bums? Are they gonna are they gonna change their ways, or are they gonna put themselves in a situation where they may have to sell themselves? Doing hard labor. And it's not necessarily something that they're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna enjoy. They're not gonna enjoy doing it. They don't want to take care of themselves. When they have the time to do so. I don't think they're definitely gonna like doing it when they're forced. So, I think for some people, slavery I guess indentured servitude is a better way of putting it. But it's usually when I think of that term, I think of people who actually have the drive. People who just hit hard times, and they have the drive to get their life back together. They need someone to help them out for a bit. So I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the ones who don't have any drive. Those who don't want to take care of themselves. They know full and well what they need to do. Fix my hat. They know full and well what they need to do, but they don't want to do it. I guess they can resort to a life of crime. They can just die off, or they may want to, sell themselves. And and what kind of people would they sell themselves? And what kind of people would want to take care of people like that? And it's funny to ask, and and I ask that question, and I guess all I gotta do is think about, what kind of people are supporting the type of programs we have nowadays, where someone could spend the rest of their life not working, but still be taken care, but still get taken care of. Well, even when there's something they could be doing. It's hard for me. It's kind of hard for me to believe that there's nothing a person out there can do, whether it be a job or an odd job or a hustle. I mean, I believe there's something there's always something a person can do. It's all about whether they can find the market that would pay them for their labor. I even give drug dealers this. They're out there working. Be it nature, be it of an ugly nature, they're out there working. They're not waiting for someone. They're not waiting for someone to take care of them. They have a drive. Like I said, the drive could be of a nasty nature, but the drive is still there. As opposed to a segment of our society who don't have any drive to do anything with themselves, don't have the drive to feed themselves, clothe themselves, house themselves, defend themselves, especially defend themselves. Like what happens to those people? And maybe, and I think it's it's an ugly institution. But for some people, are they doing anything to make it to where they don't have to be in that situation, make it to where they can avoid it? And for some people like that, it seems like if slavery came back as an institution, or I guess some people argue that it never went away in the first place. Maybe some people would fare better under those conditions. At least if they can get the drive to take care of themselves and get themselves out of that predicament, it's fine. Get themselves out of the situation where they someone else had to take care of, someone else has to feed them and house them and stuff like that. As for Cliven Bundy's comments, I'd say it also gets me thinking about what happens to the family unit. What happened to the father? And that's what I always thought about with the acronym WIC, Women's, Infants, and Children. I always wonder where's the men in that acronym. But then again, I guess men are the acronym. A man is supposed to take care of the women, the infants, and the children. But what happened to the family structure? What happened to fathers? Who's taking care of these families? It seems more so the state's taking care of these families, and it comes at the price of other people. So, like I said before, think about it. What happens if these programs aren't around anymore? People don't have the drive to take care of themselves, or to get themselves break that cycle of dependence. What happens to them? When they start working to take care of themselves, whether they just die off, or would they have to take a line of work that most of us would not want to do. Would they sell themselves? I think a lot of them would. I think a lot of them would sell themselves. And I hope whoever they would sell themselves is someone who's of a good nature, who understands that I just did a video about power, and someone person like that who's taking care of this this person or the family. They're in the position of power to do whatever they want, but hopefully there's someone who humble themselves. Another thing that also brought this topic up in my head, I was reading the Old Testament, and I believe it was in Deuteronomy, and there was a set of standards, there was a set of statutes for those who became slaves. Not because they were kidnapped, but because they basically it was indentured servitude, and it was the bondsman had his duties, and the person who's the owner of the property owner, he had his responsibilities. He couldn't mistreat the person who was living under his roof. But then it also goes into saying, well, if it came to a time where the person could leave and take care of themselves, but they didn't do it. They believe they would fare better living under their master's roof. There was a ritual where an awl would be used to punch the hole through the bondman's or the servant's ear into the doorpost, and then an earring would be placed in it, and that was like marking the person, saying that you belong to me now. But they were still had to be treated fairly, treated with dignity and respect. But the other person had to also remember, they're still living under this person's roof. So, what do you think? Do you think people out there who refuse to take care of themselves are they stuck in that cycle, or do they have the chance of breaking it? I believe they have a chance of breaking it. It's all about whether they take hold of the opportunities that come forth, because there are always opportunities that meets a person's way. I haven't had a whole lot I haven't had a whole lot that I've come across, and I took advantage of a lot of them, and they paid off. And or do you believe that there are some people who, they may wind up having to sell themselves to someone who's who has no good intentions? Someone who's not humble, someone who's not good natured. Please tell me your thoughts. Like I said, this is wasn't really a tough thing for me to talk about. I've actually had I kind of had these discussions with people I worked with, and more so they seemed to be more shocked than I was talking about something like that. But but some of them came around and offered to give their 2 cents on the matter, and I appreciate the exchange of ideas. So please share your comments in the comment section. If you agree with me, tell me why. If you don't agree with me, think I'm nuts, think I'm a racist, or whatever, just let me know in the comment section. Just please be civil to other people who are watching this video. But that's my video for Some Slavery. I'm Edward Jones, and you take care.